This ridiculously powerful and aloof man, a hit sensation, is in the closed beta version of the online game Fantasy World. He has spent thousands of years alone, going through 176 rounds of closed beta wipes. During this time, he has conquered almost all the beautiful female NPCs, fought all the bosses single-handedly, and collected all the artifacts. He has played the game in hundreds of different ways, turning it into a single-player experience with multiple clearances. Today, he is facing the 177th closed beta test of the Fantasy World, the final boss battle. In front of him is the same gorgeous storyline animation, repeated 176 times, which bored Xiaoya enough to yawn. Because there is no option to skip the story in this closed beta game, a blood-red vertical pupil appears, and the max-level boss, Sinros, the destroyer of worlds, makes a dazzling entrance. Sinros revives every 1,000 years, and the player, as the chosen hero, needs to kill Sinros to save the inhabitants of the Fantasy World. As the strongest Xiaoya in the Fantasy World, he still turns on the speed mode as usual, and begins his 177th run. Sinros takes the initiative to attack Xiaoya, who easily avoids the attack with a somersault, stepping on its huge tentacles in the process, and strikes at its main body. Sinros' vertical pupils glare at him, and the dark falling spell, Destruction Magic, is activated. Xiaoya uses the mirror reflection, and as Sinros takes the reflected damage, Xiaoya summons the Frost Giant's hammer. A fierce hammer blow crashes down, and Sinros is blasted directly into the ground. Xiaoya leaps down and pursues the victory, deafening hammering sounds echoing. Sinros is beaten into a mini version, quickly begs Xiaoya for mercy, and asks who he is. Xiaoya says he is just an ordinary player who has defeated him 176 times, and he has refreshed his record this time, glad that he didn't accidentally kill Sinros completely. Sinros says he has been reborn 6 times, and has never seen him before, but Xiaoya doesn't bother to explain, since the game's closed beta restarts wouldn't make sense to him anyway. But that's not the point. Xiaoya fumbles in his pocket, and takes out a leaf enveloped in dark magic, which Sinros recognizes as the Abyssal Leaf, a cure for dark creatures. Before Sinros can react, Xiaoya shoves the leaf into his body. Soon, Sinros' health was fully restored. Sinros asked Xiaoya why he saved it. Xiaoya waved his hand and said he was tired of playing. He wanted to change things up. This time, he wanted to use Sinros' power to deal with Orangerlu. Orangerlu was a guardian female warrior of the Light faction. Sinros couldn't understand why he, as a warrior of the Light faction, would want to target his own people. Xiaoya still said he was tired of this game. He had tried over 100 different ways to kill Sinros, but he had never seen the ultimate form that the female warrior could only unleash when cornered. That form filled him with an indescribable interest. Sinros was completely speechless. It felt like this guy was the true child of the abyss. He would betray his comrades for such a trivial matter. The more Xiaoya thought about it, the more excited he became. He even burst into unbridled, maniacal laughter. Seeing this guy's crazed appearance, Sinros' heart trembled. This guy was a total pervert. An hour later, the Light Expeditionary Force, led by Orangerlu, arrived at Sinros' castle. Xiaoya sat on Sinros' throne, looking down at the Expeditionary Force below. Seeing the timing was right, he snapped his fingers. The ice magic, Frost Mound, was activated. It instantly killed all the Expeditionary Force members. Even the strongest female warrior, Orangerlu, was frozen. However, as the cracking sound of ice began, Orangerlu broke free from the ice with an angry roar. Orangerlu glared at Xiaoya. "You traitor." Xiaoya revealed a playful expression. "Yo, Oren, it looks like my ice isn't enough to freeze you, huh?" The furious Valkyrie, with the sacred sword in hand, she attacked Xiaoya. At the same time, her affection for Xiaoya dropped to -175,000. She went from a close friend to an enemy. Xiaoya nonchalantly watched the incoming fury. Just as Orangerlu's sword was about to fall, it was blocked by Sinros. Sinros' vertical pupils suddenly opened wide. Orangerlu had no way to dodge, and took the full force of Sinros' powerful blow. Orangerlu's left shoulder was pierced. As she fell to the ground, Sinros had already summoned a dark magic circle in the sky. Powerful magic attacks rained down. Xiaoya quickly ordered it to stop. When the aftermath subsided, Orangerlu's figure slowly appeared. With both hands on her sword, she questioned Xiaoya why he betrayed her. Xiaoya casually cleaned his ear and said, "Because I was bored." Orangerlu was rendered speechless with anger. Xiaoya climbed onto Sinros' body, revealing an evil expression. "You're just a toy in my boring cycle." After saying that, he commanded Sinros to launch the ultimate attack. As Sinros summoned the magic circle and chanted the spell, Orangerlu finally fell into despair. Suddenly, the holy sword in her hand burst into golden light. Next, Orangerlu illuminated the entire abyss like the sun. When the golden light dissipated, Orangerlu had completed the metamorphosis into her ultimate form. Xiaoya couldn't help but exclaim, "How beautiful!" The moment the Valkyrie opened her eyes, Xiaoya reached out his hand to her. However, it was time for the internal test to restart. As a series of beeping sounds rang out, the internal test game data was deleted. The public test was about to begin. The screen moved to the Novice village. The chirping of small birds woke up Xiaoya, who was lying in bed. He opened the attribute panel for the first time. Xiaoya actor Xiaoya, wandering hero half-elf race, 50 copper coins in the backpack. Achievement unlocked. True Valkyrie. It seemed that the previous ultimate form of the Valkyrie could really defeat Sinros in one blow. He not only sighed that the 177th internal test ended too hastily for himself, he also reviewed the previous battle process. The real ending turned out to be, in the end, the holy sword was completely fused with the body of the Valkyrie, and it was true that it was Orange Shirley's true ending. This made Saya complain about which sadistic planner wrote this plot. A dark, fallen Valkyrie would have been better. Putting on his shoes and fastening his belt, Saya thought the 178th tedious internal test was about to begin again. The outside is still the same central newbie village at the start of each game. The sun is still annoyingly bright. The NPCs in the village are still repeating their previous actions. Suddenly, a round ball descends from the sky. It is heading towards Saya's head. Saya doesn't even need to look. He catches the ball directly. Then he throws it in a certain direction. The ball first hits a small cat hiding in a tree. It bounces all the way, striking the roof of a nearby house and knocking down a wooden box. Immediately after, it hits a thief carrying a money bag. This is already his 178th time repeating this newbie quest. Picking up the crying cat that was hit, hugging the wooden box, retrieving the stolen money bag. The task remains unchanged. Saya completes 3 side quests in one go. When he comes to the village head, he says he has completed today's bulletin tasks. The old village chief was just puffing his beard and glaring, saying he hadn't even issued tasks today. An NPC then delivers today's 3 newbie tasks. The old village chief sees that they are the 3 tasks Saya completed. To save face, he tears up the task list directly. He also praises Saya for proving his abilities. From now on, everyone in the village is his friend. At the same time, the mission panel also shows 3 side quests completed. Obtaining the item villager's certificate. Become an honorary villager. All villagers favorability plus 50. And for the sake of realism in this game, there is no newbie task guidance. Just like in reality, players have to explore on their own. After 177 solo runs, Saya can easily complete them with his eyes closed. With these 50 points of favorability, Saya thinks he can get close to a girl now. After all, in fantasy world, only conquering various types of girls can still pique his interest. Everything else has become tasteless. The thing worth pursuing in the beginner village is the girl who is hanging clothes right now. Suddenly, a gust of wind blows the girl's towel away. Saya catches it smoothly. Smiling, he greets the girl. Good morning. Maris Senia gently thanks him. The girl is one of the strongest forces in the beginner village. By winning her over, not only will there be meat to eat, but also various benefits. It's just that her husband is a scumbag who only knows how to flirt with women in the bar. Saya shows a siamming smile on the surface, saying you're welcome, but in his heart, he's already thinking about how to pursue her. It's still the same as before, intentionally asking if her husband, Hank, didn't come home last night. Senia is surprised how he knew. Just when Saya is full of pride, thinking he knows this story like the back of his hand, Senia responds with an unrelated answer. Have you heard about those wandering heroes too? Saya is suddenly shocked. Is this a new story? As the closed beta ended, suddenly, a voice comes from a distance. It turns out that 3 players have accepted Hank's task to deliver flowers to Senia. The appearance of these living players first causes Saya a bit of shock, then he is overjoyed and tearful. This means that after 177 reincarnations, he can finally leave the game. Senia calls out to him, pulling him back to reality from his daydreams. Saya awkwardly scratches his head, asking her if she needs any help. Senia points to the side. Saya, could you help me move the sword over there? Saya is invincible in the internal testing, but in the public testing, moving an ordinary giant sword is extremely difficult. He turned around and saw 3 players harassing Senia. Can't help but feel that newbies are so stubborn, daring to provoke a level 14 swordsman. NPCs in fantasy world are not simple program commands. They are as alive as the players, deceitful, daring to love and hate, and they can truly die. However, after death, their tasks will be assigned by other NPCs. The white-haired player holding a rose explained his intentions to Senia, but the eyes blatantly exposed the nature of an old lecher. This guy even made a more presumptuous move. Senia's anger was brewing. Saya had never seen such a shameless and thirsty player. Dragging a 500-kilogram heavy sword, he walked over. Then he lifted the heavy sword and swung it down in anger. The powerful force shattered the ground and repelled the 3 people. The few people immediately went off on a rant about their profound language and culture. Saya, who could take action, firmly believed in never resorting to words. Facing the green-clothed player who raised his fists, the sword was swung right on his big face. A tooth was broken out. The green-clothed player was slapped away and caught by the white-haired player. A companion was beaten. The blonde man stood out arrogantly. Who are you? Daring to confront us. Not waiting for him to finish, he was grabbed by the collar by the white-haired player. Stop pretending. Let's go quickly. Watching the white-haired guy dragging his still tough-talking companion away, Saya felt this guy was quite obedient. Kind of interesting. Little did he know that this guy would soon become his loyal fan. The storm subsided, and Senia came to thank Saya. Then she casually snatched the heavy sword from his hand. Saya looked puzzled. Senia explained that she didn't expect him to help. After all, he's too weak now. Saya countered that it's better for him to handle these things himself. Senia looked at Saya puzzled. Saya Sia said that these wanderers are mostly taken in by the village chief. They have to work for the village, so if she fought them it would be hard to explain to the village chief. So Sia patted his chest and swore confidently, "I'll handle these things in the future. I'll take responsibility for all the consequences." And as soon as he said this, Senia's favor increased by 20. Sia's skill in flirting in this situation is a prime example for men. Sia mentioned the Panda Town incident from 4 years ago again. That time, demons invaded Panda Town. Senia single-handedly slaughtered all the demons. She saved a severely injured child. Sia said that child was him. Actually, this was a lie from Sia, because he had already unlocked Senia's secret. After clearing Senia's challenge during the beta test, she revealed this secret that made her feel guilty for a lifetime. Only she and her husband Enk knew the secret. Each time he impersonated this identity, he could instantly max out Senia's affection. Thus, he could obtain one of the strongest forces in the beginner's village. Not only could he level up quickly, but he could also fill the emptiness in her heart. Senia still had the same shocked expression as always. Sia still had a thick skin, serious demeanor. However, Senia suspected that Sia heard it when her husband was drunk. Sia immediately recounted all the details of the incident earnestly. Senia's face was instantly covered in tears. With the heavy sword dropping from her hand, she said, "It's so good, it's really you." Senia couldn't help but embrace Sia. At the same time, Senia's affection skyrocketed. They went from friends to close confidants. Just as Senia was immersed in the joy after guilt, Sia couldn't help but say something shocking. "Your husband cheated on you," because he maxed out the friendship. Sia's next step was to make her leave her cheating husband and accompany him to fight monsters. Senia clearly didn't believe it. Sia shook his head. He said even the village chief knew about it, but nobody wanted to say it out loud. Afterwards, he turned around gracefully. He promised to present the evidence in front of her. He left Senia, who didn't know what to do, standing there. After 178 internal tests of Sia, today, he surprisingly received a friend request from a player. He panicked and hid in a corner. After opening the system interface, he found that there was no logout option on his panel. At this moment, he felt a little overwhelmed. Could it be that he was trapped in the game world? Or even more exaggerated, did he actually travel inside the game? He shook his head to calm himself down. Now, the top priority was to gain reputation and experience, and improve his own strength. However, new players were also troublesome, because the NPCs in the game were unique. Other than professional tasks, all other tasks were triggered only once. He had to complete the speedrun before the players disrupted the game's progress. Thinking of this, he quickly sprinted towards Sonia's tavern. Sia had just arrived at Sonia's tavern when someone blocked her path, the same player from before. Looking at them, they resembled the JoJo trio from reality. Several people immediately surrounded Sia, preparing to beat her up. Sia calmly looked at the weapon in the white-haired person's hand. "Yo, is that rolling pin from a bakery? Did she say she used it to kill a lot of monsters?" The white-haired person was shocked by these words. Sia then exposed their intentions, which were nothing more than to beat him up and then target Senia. However, provoking a level 14 swordsman would lead to a tragic outcome. The white-haired person couldn't believe that an NPC would have emotions. Sia told him he was deceived, as it was just an ordinary broken stick. The white-haired trio was utterly confused. Then, the white-haired person threw the rolling pin into the sky, and Sia didn't have time to stop it. After all, that was worth 30 copper coins. The white-haired person suddenly grabbed Sia's hand warmly. "Friend, there was a misunderstanding just now. My name is Kong Tiao. These two are my friends Liang Yin and Bailan." Then they apologized to Sia for what had happened earlier. Sia hurriedly opened the panel, only to realize that it was this guy who had sent a friend request. As Sia hesitated whether to accept or not, he was overjoyed in her heart that he could make friends, which meant she was a living person, not some strange code. But he still wondered why there were no such interfaces during the beta test. Not wanting to think too much, he clicked accept. After all, it would surely help him leave the game. Kong Tiao cautiously asked Sia which district's expert he was. Sia claimed to be an ordinary player. The trio immediately showed understanding expressions. Then Sia received a trade request from Kong Tiao for 90 copper coins. Sia was a bit confused. Kong Tiao explained that it was a thank you for him guidance. This guy was quite reasonable. Besides, having enough money in the early stages of the game would make things much more convenient for Sia. Of course, Sia understood the purpose of taking advantage of someone's kindness, so he gestured to them and then told them about several hidden side quests. Because Senia just gave birth to a baby but has insufficient breast milk, the shepherd on the west side of the village lost his sheep. As long as the sheep are found, they will give them sheep's milk and then give it to Senia so that you can learn the swordsman's skill power slash from her. The three people immediately showed admiration, praising the boss for being so strong. Sia enjoyed the flattery. After saying goodbye to them, a new social system settings button appeared on the interface. Sia worried that messages would pop up during the game and affect his performance, so he turned them all off. Since the money was in place, Sia naturally wanted to take a shortcut. He picked up a stone and threw it at Sonia's tavern. The glass on the window was shattered, and the stone rolled into the tavern. At the same time, a pair of blood-red eyes appeared in the kitchen. This muscular, 2.3-meter-tall King Kong Barbie is the tavern owner Sonia, a level 13 berserker, the second strongest warrior warrior in the newbie village, and the only warrior who can fight Sonya to a draw. When Sonya angrily walked out of the tavern, Saya was exchanging 100 copper coins for 1 silver coin. After Saya successfully exchanged the coins, he greeted her. Sonya looked down at him with a fierce face and asked if he was the one who did it just now. Then, she reached out with her strong hand to grab him. Saya bent down to dodge, as he didn't dare to confront Sonya directly. Sonya was originally from the barbarian tribe in the northern red clay grasslands. She and her parents fled here and opened this bar. Although her blood chestnut malt beer was popular, her aggressive and hot-tempered personality was criticized, and she was the only witness to prove that Sonya's husband was unfaithful. Saya had no choice but to take down this important NPC, Sonya. Sonya swung her mace, aiming straight at Saya. Saya dodged to the side. It barely grazed past his face. Saya broke out in a cold sweat. If it weren't for 177 practice sessions, he would have been finished even before leaving the beginner's village. Sonya leaped again. She raised her huge fist, ready to strike down. Saya quickly flicked his finger. A coin hit her head. Watching the silver coin fall and roll on the ground, Sonya looked adorably confused. Sonya had just picked up the coin when Saya spoke. "Here's money for a window, and I'm hiring you for half an hour." Saya hired her because there was someone he really wanted to beat up. This time, Saya created that opportunity for her. Soon, the two arrived at the entrance of the town and waited. As a noisy commotion approached, the target appeared. It was a man named Madden, level 11, the captain of the beginner village's guards. Saya pointed at Madden, smiling. "Look, isn't he someone you know well? Beat him up for me." The grudge between Madden and Sonya had to be explained from the beginning. Madden's ancestors were lumberjacks in the beginner village, but they encountered a barbarian invasion. Due to their remote location and the lack of guards, Madden's family was tragically killed. Only he managed to hide and escape, witnessing the destruction of his family and home. From then on, Madden harbored a desire for revenge. That's why he became the captain of the guards. Although Sonya was a barbarian, she wasn't a bandit. Madden, however, imposed his hatred on her. Because of Madden's position, Sonya couldn't retaliate. So today, Saya provided her with this rare opportunity, and she wouldn't have to worry about being exiled due to village rules. Madden saw that Sonya's face almost turned green with fright. With a loud shout, he still wielded his sword and attacked the opponent. But with just one strike, Sonya sent him flying. Sonya mocked him, calling him a weakling. She slowly approached Madden. Angry, Madden refused to admit defeat and cursed at Sonya. He prepared to fight again with his sword, but before he could get close, Sonya's giant hand held his entire face. A flurry of punches followed. Only then did the rest of the guard team think to come to his aid, but it was still just a suicide mission. Seeing that Sonya had vented enough, Saya stopped her. Sonya dusted off her hands, asking him how much longer she was hired for. Saya smiled and held up 4 fingers, indicating 40 minutes. Sonya's face was full of dark lines, but she didn't argue. Instead, she agreed with him. This was because Saya knew, once a barbarian has had their fun, they'll give away 40 minutes of time, and these 40 minutes were enough for him to complete the key plot tasks that followed. Soon, the two arrived at the corrupted forest. Ever since it was invaded by evil forces, it had become the witch's territory. Saya and Sonya arrived deep in the corrupted forest, and this place is where even demons dare not come. Sonya thinks Saya is courting death at the edge of death. Saya reassures her he has the means to escape unscathed. A hexagram array appears in front of the road. It is the magic array set up by the witch. Sonya reminds him that her hiring time is only 10 minutes left. When the time is up, she will leave. Saya teases her for a moment. Suddenly, he raises his fist and says, "Please trust me. My blood is your blood." Sonya is surprised to hear this, because this sentence is their ancestral covenant ceremony. She immediately takes out a goat horn knife and cuts Saya's palm. She applies Saya's fresh blood to her lips. The covenant is established, lasting 5 minutes. At the same time, Sonya's affection for him temporarily rises to intimacy. During this period, all the damage Sonya takes will be transferred to Saya. Saya tells her to pretend to fall asleep under the tree over there. Just listen to his instructions in a while. Sonya, who has entered into a contract, obeys unconditionally. Then Saya walks into the hexagram array and starts chanting the spell. Stars who experience loneliness, all things wither. Dark eyes are blurry, only death is the way to return. When the rain turns black, the world is in harmony. The moon is full of shadows, and all beings mourn for it. When selling souls, moon sickness will fade away. You like the deal? Everything is ruined. Milo Lux, the sacrifice of life you asked for has been brought. When Saya finishes reciting this long Chuyuni line, a cloud of black fog surges from the magic array. After the black fog dissipates, the 12th level elite witch Milo Lux appears in her true form. This witch is also the boss of the novice village. Saya is not her servant, but he knows her curse spell. She immediately opens her bloody mouth and asks Saya who he is. Saya bows humbly and answers, "I am the messenger of your slave." She laughs strangely. It turns out to be Madden's subordinate. "It seems that you have brought me a good sacrifice." Unexpectedly, Madden is the servant of the witch. In order not to arouse the witch's suspicion, Saya lies that he got this big guy drunk, made her eat poisonous mushrooms, and it took a great effort to bring her here. Sonya's acting skills are really on point. The witch licked Saya's face, and she didn't flinch at all. The witch immediately wanted to reward Saya, but suddenly Suddenly, she tried to eat him. Xiaoyu was waiting for this moment. He shouted, "Blow her up." Sonya delivered a fatal blow with her spiked club. The witch died instantly. Xiaoyu was splattered with the witch's blood. Despite experiencing this scenario over 100 times, he wasn't used to the barbarian's fighting style. Although this beginner village boss usually requires a team of 5 to defeat, this unexpected ambush, a level 13 barbarian berserker could handle with one strike. That's also why Xiaoyu approached Sonya. Then Xiaoyu let Sonya take the spoils of war and prepared to return to the beginner village. What made Xiaoyu sad was, even in public testing, killing monsters, he didn't have any experience. Watching Sonya putting the spoils of war into her backpack, Xiaoyu became even more annoyed, and at this moment, the hiring time ended. In order to safely escort himself back, the spoils of war had to be given to her as well. All of this was Xiaoyu's plan, to pave the way for conquering Xenia. After they left, little did they know, a crow with blood-red eyes landed on Milo Lux's corpse. The scene shifts to the beginner village. The old village chief and Madden with a group of people were already waiting at the entrance, listening to the villagers' discussion. It turns out it was about Sonya hitting Madden. Kong Tiao's trio was also there. After learning what happened, he guessed it was probably Xiaoyu's doing. Xenia and her husband Enk were also present, and Enk insisted he hadn't cheated, asking Xenia not to believe rumors. When Xiaoyu and Sonya appeared at the entrance of the village, Madden immediately pointed at them with anger and cursed, "It's them, damn it, they dared to come back." Meanwhile, Xiaoyu's head suddenly pops up a system interface. Reputation value is -90, from honorary villager to exile. At this time, Madden slanders them as corrupt traitors. What will Xiaoyu do to break the deadlock next? Word of Xiaoyu's one-on-one fight with an NPC spreads. Numerous players can't help but call him a tough and domineering person. The old village chief comes out at this moment, announcing that the novice village no longer welcomes Xiaoyu. Although Sonya is an accomplice, she is spared this time considering the need for her to resist the monster invasion. But this is not the outcome Madden wanted, especially seeing Sonya's arrogant posture. He is even more furious, but dare not speak out. The village chief announces again that Xiaoyu is in exile starting today, telling him to leave the novice village immediately. Xiaoyu raises both hands, wanting to defend himself before leaving. Madden, furious, scolds him to get lost. Xiaoyu ignores him, looks at Sonya, asks her to lend him the spoils of their previous battle for temporary use. Considering their previous fighting side by side, Sonya throws the bag over. Xiaoyu catches the bag, takes a bell out of it, and keeps shaking it. A bizarre scene unfolds. Madden unexpectedly threw a punch at Enk. Everyone was dumbfounded. NPC fighting NPC? What is going on? Enk pointed at him and yelled, "Are you crazy? I won't heal you anymore." Madden was rendered speechless. Actually, he knew very well what was happening. Enk had just gotten up, cursing and complaining. Xiaoyu shook the bell again. Madden, once again out of control, lunged at Enk. Watching her priest husband being beaten up, Xenia hurried over to intervene. She looked at Xiaoyu and asked him to stop. It wasn't until the village elder spoke up that things settled down. Xiaoyu put the bell away. He then approached the village elder. "Elder, with your vast experience and knowledge, you must know what this means, right?" The village elder didn't answer. Instead, he ordered Enk to use purification on Madden. Enk, with a swollen face, reached out his hand toward Madden. At the moment the purification circle was formed, Madden screamed in agony as a demonic aura spilled out from his body. An NPC immediately recognized the corruption. "Purify. The 7 holy spirits bless. Captain Madden has been cursed. No wonder he ran out of money recently." "Good, Xiaoyu, you've uncovered this. He is the messenger of the 7 holy spirits." Seeing this twist of events, Kong Tiao was shocked. That guy isn't playing games. He already knows. At this point, Xiaoyu's first plan was complete. Normally, according to the game's process, one would need to complete several side quests to earn enough reputation to leave the beginner village. Moreover, the beginner village would be destroyed after some time. But Xiaoyu took a shortcut, not only quickly earning enough reputation, but also exposing the traitor in the village and preventing the village's disaster, killing 3 birds with 1 stone. At this moment, the system prompted the completion of a hidden quest. Beginner village reputation plus 200. With 200 reputation, it was full. Now, all that was left was to level up Xiaoyu himself. However, the drama hasn't ended yet, because Xenia's scumbag husband's performance has yet to be staged. The village chief realized he had wrongly blamed Xiaoyu and restored his status as an honorable villager and gave Sonya a 3-month rent waiver. Overly excited, Sonya slapped Xiaoyu, accepting him as a friend. However, she almost reduced level 1 Xiaoyu to critical health. Xiaoyu took the opportunity to have Sonya tell Xenia the truth and also to win the beauty's favor. Sonya was more than happy, because for the women of the barbarian tribe, Enk, such a weakling of a man, is their ideal of beauty. While Sonya was snitching, Xiaoyu was asking the village chief for a reward. Under his coercion, the village chief began to compromise, and Enk was caught cheating, facing Xenia's wrath. This exciting and bizarre plot simply refreshed the player's perceptions. This ruthless player not only completed the hidden mission in this way, but even started extorting the village chief. However, what they didn't know was, everything that happened today was being watched by a woman on a distant high-rise. Who is this woman? Could it be the second girl Xiaoyu is about to conquer? The village chief took out 4 rewards and let Xiaoyu choose from them. Xiaoyu didn't hesitate to point to the mission distribution order. The village chief took out the mission distribution distribution order. After instructing Xiaoya to keep it well, he turned around and said something strange to Xiaoya. This time, I hope you can succeed. Good luck, Xiaoya. Xiaoya was increasingly shocked. At first, he thought it was new dialogue. Watching the village chief's receding figure, he suddenly remembered there was once a first week in the internal testing where the village chief said this sentence before dying. Could it be that the village chief couldn't escape the arrangement of fate this time? Xiaoya had just shouted to the village chief, "You still remember me?" Then Xiaoya was blocked by a large number of players. But how could NPCs still have memories after the data reset? More and more players surrounded Xiaoya, wanting to cling to this big shot's coattails. Xiaoya could only suppress his doubts for now. Then he let the noisy group quiet down and asked if they all had weapons. The result was either a shovel, a hoe, or a rolling pin. Xiaoya was a bit overwhelmed. However, these could barely handle low-level monsters. The reason why he asked if they had weapons is because Xiaoya was about to start a mission. In the past, only NPCs could initiate missions. This time, Xiaoya became like an NPC, which made him feel quite fresh. He initiated a simple side mission, clearing the edge of the corrupted forest of monsters. Just as the mission was generated, a large question mark appeared above Xiaoya's head. Soon, the Kong Tiao trio and 3 other players joined the team. Seeing that no other players were joining for the time being, Xiaoya told them to gather here at 3 p.m. the next day and stated that those who met the mission requirements could join at any time. After arranging everything, someone in the team started chatting. Kong Tiao said that when they submitted the mission to Xenia mentioned Xiaoya. Xiaoya just replied, "Thank you." Liang Yin asked if Xiaoya was trying to increase Xenia's favorability. Xiaoya didn't lie and answered truthfully. However, when asked about what could be done with a higher favorability, Xiaoya pretended not to know. He couldn't tell the secret to anyone.